Andy.
And I'm Rich.
And welcome back to Get Gaming, the channel by two gamers with a Y for
gamers with or without a Y.
That's exactly right. It's been a hot minute. Things have been crazy. We are going to be posting the January stats video very late. I apologize. We'll be going up right before this one.
Wait, this is the January one?
This is February monthly math.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying that our January stats video hopefully will have gone up right before this. So this is us getting up to date with our February stats. Because monthly math is really like our monthly game vlog. We're doing some vlogging, things we played in the month of February. So, it was a good month for gaming overall. I think the numbers were healthy.
Yeah, we played a lot of games.
We played a lot of game days. So, do you want to I'll just rattle off the stats real quick.
Yeah.
So, in the month of February, we played 43 games at the table, 38 of which were with Rich. Because there was one game day where I played 5 games that were not with Rich. And of those 43 games, we played 29 unique games between the two of us. And 10 of those were new to us/me. 7 of those were new to Rich. So that's a lot of new games, more than we usually have done in recent eons. And then you're always curious about the BGA and solo sets. I only played 2 solo games this month.
Too busy playing the tabletop one.
That's right. One of them was online, and one of them was a button shy, which I will talk about later. But it was rage more. There's the solo games. I only played 27 games on BGA. That is the lowest amount of games I've played on BGA since I started playing on BGA.
Wow.
Because I was too busy at the game days, of which we had 9.
And then there's only 28 days in February.
Yeah, so in the shortest month of the year, we had 9 game days, and we played with 17 different people that were not either of us. Wow. What do you say?
Wow.
Again, in the January video, I think I said quality over quantity, but I think that is even more so this month, for sure. Because this was the month that we started going to our lovely friend CJ. Likes to have, not to be confused with Celia.
Different.
Who's also I think her middle name to start for J.
Celia.
But anyway, this other CJ chick, she likes to have these themed board game days. We originally went over to her place because she was looking for people to play Space. It was like a marathon version of Space. But maybe I'll get to that.
That was your first time playing too?
It was my first time in person. I played it once online. Did not understand it when I played it on BGA, like what was happening at all. I was like, oh, we're rolling dice and things are getting activated. I'm taking cards? Okay. Being introduced to a game in a 5-hour session where it was the Shy Pluto campaign. It's one of the expansions.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of like a pseudo campaign mode. It's a little weird to explain, but basically you go through and once you hit certain objectives, you add new mechanics or new cards into the game or different kinds of goals, or you take things out. It's like not really like a story-based campaign, really. I guess maybe there is some flavor text. But,
probably.
I was
cares,
I
right?
was surprised that we got through the whole thing before because you wanted to skip to that.
Well, did I?
Well, originally, because you were like, I don't know, because I told you I was pretty upfront, and she was pretty upfront. This is probably going to take more than 4 hours.
Oh, Jesus.
I think it took about 4
It was okay, though. I remember
except for
not
Terry.
hating it.
Screw you, Terry. And you're frickin' every time you roll a 7, you have to lose 4 points. That stupid card. Which I found out, a lot of people said they just take that card out of the game that he was using that was screwing us all so much. He still didn't win.
No, it never pays. You know what?
Crime doesn't pay, Terry.
I never go by that, philosophy of like you're gonna
screw
win
over
by
people just to
screwing,
screw other people,
or just
right?
because you can, or you think it's.
There
gonna
is
help
a card
win.
you can get in that game that when you play, it's like it just says you win. You think
Wait, wasn't that what happened though? I'm pretty sure that is what happened.
That's what ended it. But it's really hard. It's really expensive to pay for. So it's really hard to activate. But that's not what I think.
It's like the dumbest mechanic ever, but it's really expensive. Oh, you win the game. Great.
I was just, at that point, I was just glad it wasn't Terry. But you'd think that would be the overpowered card, but it really, really isn't. Because you have to work. really long and hard to make that card pay off for you. And we were in a campaign mode is the only reason she was able to do it.
I remember
CJ1.
thinking, though, that at the time that, like, it came out, I was like, oh, thank God. Because it was
I know we're like,
is this game going to go on forever?
How much longer? She was only playing up to the 5th card.
Okay.
There's like more in that campaign, but she was just like, we're just going to hit this.
That was pretty much up and around the limit of what I can tolerate.
About 4.5 hours. I'd say so too.
Jesus.
I think if you start getting beyond that, it's like really like can get a little brutal. But it was fun. We really enjoyed it. We really need to add space to the collection because I think it plays up to 7, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure if you need an extra expansion to do it at the higher player count, but we played it. There was at least 6 of us, I think. So I think the base game plays up to 6. And I'm like, oh yes, we need that game for game day. Because we've been doing a lot of game days. We've been doing...
Well, as I recall, it's not even that expensive. That's one of the cheaper games.
I think it's like a $40 game.
No, I think it's cheaper than that. I think it's like under 30.
I
I'm gonna
highly
look it
doubt
up.
that.
Space?
It's AEG, so...
Well, let's see.
It's not really a small box game.
Oh.
Did we ever explain Space? Dice chucking. You're chucking dice. Activating cards.
Yeah.
Bumping tracks. You're in space. That's Space.
I'm just
Or
gonna put
Spass, as Jeff and Jamie like to say.
Anywho.
So that was one game day. Okay, do you want to go for this chronologically? I think chronologically works. So on February 1st, we had our first game day of the year with a lovely friend, Shelly. Our Wednesday game day. We did Castle Panic with the Wizard's Tower expansion.
Oh, yeah, that was fun.
Because we decided that we need to do more cooperative games to stem maybe that competitive edge. Love you, Shell. And yeah, we won by the skin of our teeth. It was really... That one took 3 hours. Jeez.
I know.
Usually
I
doesn't
was
take that long.
shocked that it took as long as it did. It's
Well, the Wizard's Tower expansion does add more cards. I guess that.
and I thought we
it a
were
bit.
going to lose for sure.
I did too. But it's to get through all those monsters. Yeah, I feel like when we played it too, it only took like an hour. But you know, she was learning, and we were doing a lot of table talk. You know, we really had our heads. We were bumping heads together to try to figure that one out. It'd been a while since we played it. That's a really great co-op game.
You know, that one gives you all this visual imagery, and it's kind of fun, like putting the little flames on
It's
the
a castle
tower.
defense game for nobody that's ever played Castle Panic.
We should have taken more pictures of it while we were playing it, because it's funny. It's one of those games that you get into because it gets
very
to
tongue
play.
in cheek.
Yeah, and it's almost like having little toys with your little
Totally.
towers there and
Castle.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, they did
It
do
was fun.
a recent reprint and not quite a reskinning. I think it's still the same, but now there's like there's actual characters. There's like a king and a queen, and there's new art and stuff, and then an actual castle. So it's not just cardboard; it's like castle minis. And stuff.
That would be really fun.
That big box thing is not cheap though.
No,
but it
I
comes
guess
with all
not.
expansions, I guess, and they have a new expansion, that crown and whatever I was
Mhm.
showing you the other day. I really like playing that with the Wizard's Tower. I think for a lot of gamers without the Wizard's Tower, it might be a little too
But wait,
simple.
didn't we decide that we thought you shouldn't always be taking the wizard cards? Like we were like always taking just the wizard cards, and I thought we decided that was what slowed it down, sort of.
Well, that doesn't affect the monsters coming out, and that's the real clock of the game: is how many monsters you have to get through the whole bag of monsters.
Am I making that up that we didn't decide that it was like, oh, maybe we don't need quite as many wizard cards as we thought we did? It seems like that's what I remember.
I mean, there's different strategies you can do when you have the Wizard's deck. We were a little confused at first, I think, about when you're allowed to take a wizard card, and I think we were doing it wrong at first, but then we fixed it.
So we have no idea whether we actually won or not.
No, we did. I mean, we
okay.
weren't doing any game-breaking stuff. So how it works is you're only allowed to take wizard cards on, like, a certain phase of the turn. And we were doing that. So that was fine. It was just the issue of, there was one particular card that said, you can't take wizard cards when such and such. I can't remember exactly what it was. But we did a rules clarification. It was like, okay. And then we fixed it going forward. It wasn't anything, like, super game breaky, I don't think.
Well, we'll see about that when we watch the video.
What video?
This video.
Oh yeah!
We played Odin's Ravens again. That made a comeback. We played it twice, but it had been a while. And I was like, oh, hey, Odin's Ravens, one of our favorite two-player race games.
He's always, this brings out something in you that's just like...
You always win. And
No,
I was really
I
hard.
don't.
You do always beat me in the race because I'm always like blow through my Loki cards too quickly. So the way the game works is you have like a little racetrack of cards with different terrain types, and you're playing cards from your hand that match the terrain types to move your little raven meeple, and you're going like in opposite directions, and whoever gets to the end of their loop first wins. Pretty basic.
That is it.
But you have these Loki cards that let you break some of the rules, like let you move ahead more quickly, or add more loops to the other person's track to slow them down, or can sort of manipulate the track, like take cards out to make your route shorter.
Switch cards around.
It's a real light and breezy two-player race game that we've quite enjoyed. I'm glad we brought it out, and I'm glad I beat you. I felt very satisfied. And Dragonheart. More Dragonheart.
I want to play more Dragonheart.
For sure. I know you like that game. I like that game. Hannah loves that game.
Hi, Hannah.
Remember to say thanks, Hannah. That's our new hashtag. Thanks, Hannah, for introducing me to Dragonheart. And helping me get better at it.
Did she introduce you to Dragonheart?
I probably played it once or twice before I started playing with her, but I played it the most of her, for sure. I came back recently, she's like, wow, you really floored me. I think I got like 94, and she had like 37 or something.
Oh my god.
So Hannah, I'm still going to send you a physical copy of that, getting on the eBay.
It's out of print right now?
It's one of those weird things, and they're not going to reprint it because they reskinned it already a while back.
Into something else?
Something with mermaids.
What?
Mermaids, I don't know why.
What?
It added tokens or something. There's some other thing they added to it, some extra mechanics.
I'm going to flip this table.
I really like that game. That's a really good two-player... Again, a two-player card game. That one is more about hand management and like card stacking, and you're basically trying to just grab as many cards to get as many points as you can. There's a nice little flow chart on the board, though. I didn't realize there were arrows on there I didn't notice in the BGA implementation. Like, they're there, they're in the rules, but it's like, oh, wait... If I put this here, this lets me take that? Oh. But it's interesting because there's this strange synergy, this almost kind of ecosystem of, if I place this here, I can take that, and then it goes here, and then if I place this here, that lets me take those.
Yeah, there's like little pots that accumulate.
Right, yeah, it's not quite like chaining, but it's like when you place the last card on some spots, you get to take all the cards in the stack. There's spots like that, or spots that have an arrow, like if I place a card here, I can take this card over here. Or there might be ones, if I place a card by the Petrified Dragon, I get to take the Dragon Meeple, which gives me a larger hand size.
I feel like it's almost like a classical card game, but they made it easier by having the board. It's like easier than a regular card game because you don't have to remember all the rules. It's pretty much laid out there on the board.
Yeah, it's very visual, which is good for people that are visual learners. I'm an audio visual learner, so that helps. And you're, what's your...
Super visual.
You're a visual learner.
Just a visual
as well.
I don't listen very well at all.
He's not like me. I like people to read rules at me. Like aloud. So
no. I have to read it myself.
Speaking of rules, the Castles of Burgundy. We got 2 Castles of Burgundy in the month of February. Really good.
Well, I'll just say that...
as designed by Stefan Feld and published by Aaliyah. I guess I should say such things.
It was one of the games that for, like, most of last year, you know, you were talking about it, and we were going to get it. Eventually, I think you got it for Christmas. I gave it to you for Christmas. Is that right? And I love it because there's a lot of dice rolling.
You like dice chucking.
And I do like dice chucking.
It's dice... replacement, technically. You only have 2 dice, though. It's not a lot of work to work with.
I actually do like the tiles. Not that I necessarily think the symbolism works, but there is, you know, you can just look in the rule book.
Our rule book? Oh, my God, I'm going to have to pull it out now. We've only played this game, guys, this physical copy of the game. I played it a lot online, obviously, and still do. Hit me up. Too legit to quit 88 on Board Game Arena. But our rulebook, we played this 5 times, and I had to tape this together because the staples came out. Because we just... I'm really hoping the special edition fixes some of the UI issues in this game, which is to say, user integration and accessibility. Is that what that stands for? But it's just like, I know in the special edition, the backs of the tiles have printed on them what they do. And that would help a lot in learning this game.
I mean, they're pretty. Part of it is that, look. They're not, I mean, they're very small tiles.
They are very small. And in the special edition, they are bigger. Mm-hmm. And you can get acrylic tiles and they like fit into place. The boards are a little bit bigger.
But in general, it's like...
I don't mind the tiles being small.
I don't mind that either.
You have to memorize what everything does. Basically,
I was constantly. I mean, it would have been nice if there had been like one of those player aids where it's a little smaller.
Yeah, and on BGA you can kind of hover over the tile and it'll pop up and tell you what it does. So I had memorized some things. I was familiar with most of it, but I still have to look up a lot of things because I'm like, wait, what does that one do again?
I mean, it's probably, in many ways, it's kind of a dry Euro because it's not very thematic. I mean, it has very precious little to do with castles.
I mean, I kind of feel like I'm building out my estate. There's animals, and there's buildings, and workers. I'm enslaving workers to build my things for me.
Yes, there's all those things, but it's almost like you don't really feel like
it is kind of abstract.
It's you don't really feel like in Lavinia. You actually do feel like you're these characters.
I don't think so. I feel like I'm just picking up cards in that game.
Really? Yeah. I don't know. It's so weird, that whole of how do you create that buy-in? It's
thematic experience.
Yeah, well, in the movies they call it suspension of disbelief.
Sure.
So that you have to buy into the story and stop questioning so much stuff that
stop asking so many questions.
Yeah, a lot of games are like this too.
Don't you dare ask any questions.
It's that, once you get into it, you really are trying to get
points.
You're trying to get your points from finishing your little areas. And
when people talk about point salad, this is the Mac Daddy of them all.
It is, but it gave me something to focus on. Which is what, some games can get boring if you don't have enough to do while you're waiting for other people.
Sure.
But this one, you're really trying to...
Well, turns are fast, too. You roll your die. You can either buy things or place things, or you can't. I mean, there's not a lot of... There can be moments of AP, but you're only dealing with... You can take 2 things. You have 2 dice. You have 2 possible actions and maybe buying.
Right.
So maybe 3. There is a min-maxing efficiency puzzle obviously going on because it's a very tight economy. Because again, you only have 2 dice. It's really hard to get silver in the game. You don't want to waste a whole action just taking workers if you don't necessarily need to, because you want to build things in that round so you can get the better bonuses and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot going on, but it's not a hard game to understand mechanically what you're doing, getting into. The only thing I think is steep on the learning curve is just knowing what all the frickin' tiles do. I'm
surprised that I liked it as much as I did.
Me too.
It could be
actually. Well, you liked Rajas, and it's like dice.
This is making me wonder if I want to go back and play more Carcassonne, though, because it's like maybe.
I'm sorry, I got a little cold in here. Did hell just freeze over?
I know. I like it.
Did those words just come out of your mouth?
Yeah, they did.
I don't believe it.
No, they did.
Am I dreaming? Am I asleep or awake?
I don't know. You'll have to see.
Okay, I am awake. So
yeah,
we're gonna play Carcassonne once we're done playing.
I don't know. I kind of something about the.
I love it.
I know, and I'm kind of like in the mood to play it again. As far as giving me the feeling of having like land and an estate or something. I mean, Carcassonne is really good for that one. And I
agree.
love how
I like the map building.
Yeah, the map building is fun. So yeah, I'm kind of ready to go back and revisit that one if you are.
Cool. Getting you back into Euros. I've been trying to gently lead Rich down this Euro path, and I think I've made some good choices in recent eons. Because he really liked Rajas too. So I'm just trying to work him up to a Feast for Odin, guys. I just don't want to happen. Okay, Jeff, if you're watching this, I know Jeff and Jamie probably don't watch these videos, but in case they do, I just want to make sure that I don't end up what happened with Jeff and Jamie, and then she never wants to play Feast for Odin again because she had such a bad first experience.
That's not
because she's so confused and overwhelmed. And when you're learning a new game that's heavier, I mean, this is like the same weight as Praetor. So like a 2.9, and Feast for Odin is what, like a 3.2, 3.5 or something like that. It's not much more complex, but there are more options. And there's a lot of different tiles. Feast for Odin has a lot of different tiles that do different things. So I think the fact that you were able to handle this bodes well for you being able to enjoy.
Yeah, well, we'll see. It's a one that you've talked about for a long time, and I'm glad I liked this one, since I know it's one of your
classic. It's a classic in the hobby. Everyone loves this game. It is universally loved. And if you don't love it, you can click off and stop watching this video. Unsubscribe! Unsub! We don't want you!
I never said I was a role model.
But what about...
And we already talked about Spass.
Yeah.
And then, talking about old favorites, Carcassonne, we played Exploding Kittens again. Swap with Jamila. It holds up. You know, I totally stand by our love of that game. I was like, oh, this is a really good push your luck hand management game.
It is.
And I have the words now to say that. It makes me sound like a snob. But now that I have the words to articulate what it is that we enjoyed about this game, I'm like, oh, that's a solid game.
Yeah.
You know? You're booby-trapping the deck, and if you're really good at card counting, I still think there's still an element of push your luck, though, because you don't really know
push your luck.
when that exploding kitten is gonna pop up. But I was like, and the art, I was worried it wouldn't date as well. You know, I was worried it would have the Crimes Against Humanity syndrome, where it's just like, oh, this card says the Jews. Oh, the blacks. Har, har, har. It wasn't quite like that. I still enjoyed, you know, the multi-breasticled cats and stuff. I feel like
Bikini cat?
I feel like the humor it has is just so like kind of bizarre and surreal that it still works for me, you know?
Well, now on that line of thinking, how interested would you be in replaying Bears versus Babies? It's by the same. I think it's by the same.
I gave it to you about
yeah,
the fuzzy box where you're building your Frankenstein monster kind of. Yeah, I'd try Bears versus Babies again.
Just because, you know, it seems like
I don't want to be a snob.
Yeah, no, it seems like it'd be a good filler game. Like we're trying to find more party games.
Well, how many does that one play? Do you remember? Does it play more than 4?
I think it plays 5.
Yeah,
I'll have to check.
I'm not opposed because, speaking of which, I'm getting to the next one, which is I still had some Yahtzees this month. I love Yahtzee. It's the most ironic thing in the world because they talk so much trash when you and Celia were playing Yahtzee before. And I was like, that game seems dumb. You're just rolling dice in a cup. What's the point? And now it's like my most played game ever.
And we were playing it on Zoom, in case you're wondering. This is back in it's COVID days.
The original roll and write. Yeah, basically you're rolling dice and writing stuff on a sheet. You know, but there's something so satisfying about just you're trying to roll, you're trying to chase those 3s, chase those 6s, chase that straight, whatever it may be that you're trying to get to mark off on your sheet in a certain order. So it's just one of those comfort food type of games for me that, you know, I play it a lot online, like a lot. And we really need a physical copy of Yahtzee, I think, so we can play it more together.
I wish I could remember. I just saw it somewhere for like really cheap, and it was like $5 or something.
I want one of those, like, because we played one that was Cup of Noodles. I know there's like the Hocus Pocus one. I want some of those random themed ones. Maybe like
you want one like that?
Maybe like a dinosaur themed one or something. I don't know. We had another game day with a lovely John, our designer friend. Hi, John, who's quickly becoming our dearest and fastest bosom buddy. It's good to have bosom buddies to play games with. Because he brings games! Yay! I'm not the only one bringing games.
He's good at teaching the games.
Yeah, it's not bad. So we did Full Throttle, which is a Friedman Freeze racing game. You're racing dirt bikes, I believe. That one was quite fun. And you're bidding. Obviously, every race game ever involves some kind of bidding, I feel. But that one's interesting because you're bidding with cards from your hand. And when you bid, you're taking them out of the deck. So any cards you take to bid give you points for whoever wins the race at the end for whatever color. But by taking the cards out, you're making it less likely for that person to be able to race along the track because they don't have their colored cards aren't being drawn to push them along the track anymore. So it's a really interesting deck curation bidding kind of mechanism. Very, very interesting, very fun and light. And you can play it up to 6. If you're looking for more 6-player games that play very well at 6, Full Throttle is a good one. And we played Histrio with John, I think Shelly and her sister Jen were there. I taught that game, and I worked very hard to try to teach it, though I had some struggles, because it's one of those kinds of games, like, once you get into it, it's not really that complex mechanically, but it's like, wait, so what am I doing with these cards? How do I draw cards? What am I trying to get? You know, how does this work?
Well, there's a lot of cards out there, and then they're in
They
like
just keep on
rows. Yeah.
So in the game of Histrio, you're Shakespearean troupe,
Colin.
you know, going along on your air dirigibles to put on shows for the king. And the best part about that game really is that
The
little
dirigible
stage.
stage.
It's actually works. It's like a mechanically sound thing. It's like this entire moving structure made out of cardboard. It's really cool. That's the best thing, the centerpiece of that game. And you do use it in the game, so I quite enjoy it. But I feel like there should be more than 2 rounds to that game.
I just haven't made up my mind about that game yet.
It's about a good hour long.
It? You know,
it was better at the higher player count. I really don't want to play it at 2. I don't think it really... There is a 2-player mode, but you're supposed to be like controlling a neutral color, so you're basically like double fisting it.
Good.
So I guess that's
I'll
quadru
have to
fisting.
check off not for children edition. On
You know what I
one.
mean? You're playing 2-handed, basically. So, which in a 2-player game doesn't make sense to me. That's basically, you put on the box, it's 3 minimum. Just be honest with me, bro. Like, come on, Bombix. Come on, Bruno. Cathala is the designer of that game. But the art is beautiful. It's a great production. It's fun. It's not like, you know, super groundbreaking or anything. I do like the mechanic of the push your luck of, if 2 people go to the same spot, neither of us gets the card, but then we get this extra special scoring card instead.
I don't know. It's so weird. It's like we were just talking about like castles or Carcassonne or whatever. Like these kinds of games, like there's a certain thing about that game, Histrio, where I could see getting into it, but not just anytime. It's not like a good anytime game. For
Sure.
me. More like, I
said, I think that's a good one to pull out when you have 4 to 5 people. I do think it's much better at the higher player count, because then that aspect of pushing your luck with which city you go to makes more sense, because you're competing for the same space.
All right, I'm gonna give you a direct head-to-head, and you're gonna say, they're not really the same kind of games, but I'm just like Histrio or Isle of Cats.
Oh, Isle of Cats.
Yeah, see, I would say this.
No, contest. I mean, that's kind of like apples and oranges. Because
Because
Isle of Cats is a tile placement and drafting in. There's definitely more strategy, I think, in Isle of Cats. Are we talking about art or how it plays?
All right, let me see. Okay, let's do some other matchups.
Okay. We're only to February 8th.
Oh, okay. We're only on February 8th? Oh, Jesus, no.
And John introduced us to Harvest Dice by Daddy Divine. You know Danny Divine. That was good. More roll rights. Thank you, John, by the way. This is a direct camera to John right now. Thank you, by the way, for helping me introduce Rich to more roll and rights, because I'm glad we've made him a believer in the beauty of roll and rights.
I really liked Silver and Gold.
Yes. I think that was this month that we played it.
Yeah.
I think that was this month. It must have been.
It was, and I liked it so much that I ordered it myself.
Yeah, and we played it like 5 times since you ordered it. It works really well, too.
We both love tile placement games with the pentominoes. Only this, it's on cards, and then you actually X out on some other cards that you have.
Yeah, it's another Daddy Phil game, praise be to the Walker Harding.
Oh, I know. I love
He's your favorite designer.
He is my favorite designer. I just feel like he's done so many good games. So basically, as far as the roll-in rights, it's the simplicity of, like, the cards you're filling out, they have they're different shapes. Mm-hmm. They all have little squares where you put your X for the tile, but sometimes you put it over a red X that's already there, and that allows you to do an additional X somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. And if you can't place one of the polynomial shapes, so you're flipping over cards that have the polynomial shapes.
You always get to at least
everyone,
do one.
Yeah, and if you can't fit the shape, I think you can choose. If you don't want to, you don't have to put the shape.
You can just take
one. You can just take an X if that's what you want to do. And then there's palm trees that if you cross those off, you get a certain amount of points based on how many palm trees.
Gold coins.
Always get the coins. It's like in Cartographers. I think any roll and write game where you're trying to collect coins, because that's how you get those bonuses.
Yeah, I totally want to play Cartographers again and see if how it feels and what. That would be an interesting one to compare with like Silver and Gold in some ways.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're very similar mechanically, actually. I think Silver and Gold is one. And you can only play Silver and Gold at 4 because of the way that bonus track works, which is the only kind of, ding I would give to it. But it's made a really good filler game. It's a real good beginning or end of the night game, or you're just trying to squeeze a good one in. Because we whipped through that, twice in 40 minutes at the last game day. So it's a very fast game, very fun one. I really like that one.
We should
get it going. We played New York Zoo again. You played it twice this month, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, it's still a really great game. It's kind of
I want to get some tweezers. I'm gonna get some little chopsticks or something to pick the meeples up with.
It's a little
so fiddly.
Challenging. Oh my god.
It's so fiddly.
And I was so shaky the day that I played it over.
Tell them about your friend Tony.
Tony. Well, she really liked it. She's in a retirement home now. It's one of those independent living communities, but they give you, meals and stuff. So anyway, while we were playing the game, all these other ladies came by and
the biddies with their walkers.
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh, what are you doing?" There was real interest in. We've had our flamingos out there in penguins.
So we are doing the Lord's work. We are out at the senior centers trying to proselytize for hobby board game. I was thinking that would be a really cool volunteer idea, doing board game day, organizing one at a senior home.
Oh my really god, cool that would be fun to do. It would be. I guarantee there would be interest. People forget. Old people have interest. They like new stuff too. They do. They don't want to just always play the same old stuff.
Everyone's different too. It's just because you're old. I was saying this the other day. Your age doesn't really tell me anything about you, other than maybe you have more aches and pains than I do.
That's probably about what it tells you.
Everyone has their own lives, their own background, their own interests, their own hobbies, and especially if you got a lot of time to kill at the senior home, heck yeah, I want to play games. Doesn't that sound amazing?
I think they are so set up for it too. I swear to God, you're walking. There's these big hallways, and there's activity tables with chairs. Yeah, it's honestly, if you couldn't, there'd be no way that you couldn't find a table to play if you were looking.
We should start doing that when we can't get our friends to play games. We'll just go to the senior home and be do you know anyone who lives in the senior home? No, I just wanted to play games.
She loved it and she won.
That's right.
Yeah, which felt
still
good.
A good game.
I know, and it's fun.
It's not hard to learn. Is what that tells me.
At first, she was really thinking, "Oh, this is gonna be too hard. I don't know."
It's a lot of bits.
Yeah, and also she told me she wasn't that spatial as far as fitting.
Sure.
And I wasn't even really trying that hard.
The thing in that. The puzzle of that game is not really about the polynomials, really, because it's really about breeding the animals and filling in your holes. New York Zoo is all about filling in your holes by having as much animal sex as fucking possible. So if you're into animal sex
that is
and filling holes and getting tweezers to pick up little Animeeples, that's the game
it's putting them down and then...
No, it's taking them off.
Oh, God. And then, she goes to reach for things, and then you knocked everything over. You knock over the animal. We were both doing it. It was really bad.
I do enjoy the game, but that is the UI is a real big issue. And I keep on using that word. People are like, a urinary tract infection? No, that would be UTI. Maybe it should be UA, because user accessibility. It's really an accessibility issue when I think about it. Because lots of people have big fingers and chonky hands.
Yeah, I think that is something they... if it gets reissued, that's maybe something they could try to fix a little bit.
They're Germans, so... Speaking of Germans, we played some more Miyabi. I finally beat you again. I'd beaten you before, but it had been a really long time. Because I just was sucking at the strategy of Miyabi, as designed by Michael Kiesling, another tile placement game. But that one, you're layering tiles, so it's 3D tile laying, which is really cool. But I was always trying to diversify and create a big foundation. But I realized, no, I need to gun for one thing.
I know, and I think you're right about that. Now that we both kind of have seen the same thing, I wonder how it's going to play out. Or if we should play with...
Well, I want to play it at 3 or 4.
Yeah, I do.
We've only ever played it at 2.
We have not played that with anybody else?
We played a half game with Jamila, but that's about it.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Because we were going to play it, when John and Maggie came over, which was also at the end of this month. John brought his girlfriend, Maggie, very delightful. She's a rulebook writer. She actually wrote the solo rules for Stonewall Uprising. And she introduced us to John's favorite game in the world, Cat in a Box, which is now my favorite game. At least my favorite trick-taking game that I played, I think. I loved it. I thought it was so fun. But also I won. I gave the best tricks. I was the best.
I did not understand that game. It just was baffling.
Well, you got the paradox every time.
I did. I got the paradox.
Which is what it was. John was shaking with literal anger. Like, if you could set a game on fire with your eyes, he would have set the whole table on fire.
I feel very attacked!
Relax.
And I get it. Like, I'm wondering if it's mathematically inevitable to have paradoxes in that game, or if you can avoid them.
I must be. It's got...
Because I didn't get a paradox once.
I don't know. I'd have to play it. You know what? We might have to play that one.
I'm going to get it.
Are you going to get it?
I'm not going to suggest playing it with John, though.
No.
I'm quick to check a bitch if she is out of line.
Because we want to actually keep him as a friend.
Yes. I don't think he would.
But I want to play more trick-taking games. John was talking about Fox in the Forest, which is one I wanted to try for a while. That's a 2-player trick-taking game that they have it at Target. So I think we should pick up a copy soon. Because, I'm itching for more trick-taking now because I had so much fun with that one. And, more importantly, that night, we got something off the shelf of neglect. And what was it? The most epic game ever of Stardew Valley!
Oh, yeah, that's right. We had not played that for
4
months.
hours.
It's a long game.
It was so much fun, though.
But they both liked it.
Oh, yeah. Well, Maggie had played it before. John
But
had
on
it.
the board game, Stardew Valley, or just...
The board game. I think she played it at a convention or something
okay.
When it first came out. And that was my probably 3rd time playing that game because I've only played it the once solo. I do want to... Now that we pulled it out, the setup is a bit. But it's not as bad as I remembered. Actually, the thing that was hard is I just handed the rulebook to Maggie and said, you do this for a living, kind of. Writing rulebooks is like teaching games. Like, you can teach the game. And then I kind of did this. I was like the little showgirl from, like, Wheel of Fortune. I was just... As she was explaining stuff, I was just like... And there. Oh, and there, yes.
I don't know. It is true. Like, I feel like it's who you play games with that make the games fun. To me, I mean, you know, honestly, that is a good game, and I do like Stardew Valley.
I loved playing it with them, especially just because, you know, it was our first time meeting her, too. She brought over baklava. She said my pozole was one of the best things she'd ever eaten. And yeah, it was just a lot of fun. John was just off in the mine the whole time. He was fighting monsters and getting jewels like nobody's business. And it's just such a great cooperative game. I think it's one of my favorite cooperative games because most cooperative games are putting out fires, right? Bad stuff happens to you, monsters are coming at you, and it can feel very punishing. That game is you're just doing stuff and you have a goal and you're trying to achieve the goal together before the clock runs out. So it's more... At 4, it's definitely more forgiving. You can all do your thing. You go over here, I'll go over here. You have your special boards that you have your special deck that lets you get more juiced up. Like, one of you is good at fishing. One of you is good at the farming. That's what I was doing. One of you is good at going off in the mine. So I felt at 4... It really felt like it was John.
Now,
I know
when you were used to play it all the time online, and I remember when you'd go in the cave, there were bats.
Yeah.
In the cave. Are there bats in this one?
Yeah.
They just haven't come out?
No, there were bats. They're like one of the little icons on the cards.
I don't remember the bats.
Well, I'm really
hoping...
hoping...
there's like demons, too, in the cave, aren't there?
There's all kinds of things in the cave. I mean, some things are in the cave, because in the cave, you have to go through like 50 levels, I think. You're going down, and there's a lot more stuff. I think they did a really good job importing a lot of the content from the video game. He's talking about the video game, by the way.
Yeah.
That's the board game is based on. A very popular game. I probably don't even need to say that. Everyone knows what Stardew Valley is. It's like Animal Crossing. I'm really excited to see if they come out with an expansion and work in some more content from the game, because there's a lot of stuff you unlock in the game that's just not there.
Yeah, you weren't taking any...
With Harvey, the air balloon.
Air balloon ride. Sorry, I don't know why.
It's romantic because Harvey proposed to me on an air balloon when he's afraid of heights.
That is so romantic.
Isn't it? And then we had sex and hot air balloon in the air.
Oh,
And then I
no,
married
that's-
him, and then, well, let's not get into what happened after I married Harvey, okay? But let's just say,
I think you guys have a marriage of convenience at this point.
I don't know where he goes at night. Where is he? And he just hangs out at my house during the day doing nothing. I have automatic sprinklers. What do I need that fucker for? He's like, oh, I'll water stuff. I'm like, I don't need you to water stuff, Harvey. I need to know where you go at night.
Back to reality.
Yeah, we played Seven Wonders Duel. I got you back into it. You tried it again.
Yeah,
you liked it more this time.
I did. I don't know why.
I think the one time we were playing it before, you were just the iconography. When you haven't looked at the iconography for a while in Seven Wonders, it's like, what does it all mean? Like,
Yeah, not as much though. I mean, after playing like Castles of Burgundy, it's like the Seven Wonders and Duel seem like much less.
you're growing as a gamer,
Yeah.
and I love to see it. Oh, we
Okay.
played a Creature Comforts. Yeah, because I played a Creature Comforts because I introduced it to CJ. We introduced Juicy Fruits to Anna and Logan.
That was, that's always a great game. I don't remember who won. Do you? Was it Anna?
You won.
Oh, good.
Do you remember this?
Yes, now I do.
Let's not get into what happened, but let's just say I might have taught a particular rule very wrong. And so he snuck up at the very end, literally, not even the midnight hour, right as the clock struck 12. You're like, oh, and by the way, I have these 35 other points you guys didn't realize I had. That was
And it
so
wasn't my
nefarious.
fault.
It wasn't your fault.
was not my-
Speaking of things we introduced to people, we also introduced Wild Space to John, and Shelly's played it lots before. And card chaining.
I think he
one of
liked
our favorites.
it.
Yeah, I think he liked it. His brain was melting a little bit. Because the first time you play that game, that's kind of how it is. It's like, how do I synergize these things? I only have 10 actions in the whole game.
It's weird how it goes really fairly fast. But
Yeah.
you can pretty much, if you just have to keep concentrating on looking over your options and then trying to make stuff work. I actually feel like there's more maneuverability within that game than even in Meadow. Meadow, it's like, it really worked out.
Yeah.
Last time we played Meadow, it really worked out pretty well for me. But
It did.
it doesn't always. A lot of
Yeah.
times it just
Wild
doesn't.
Space, I think you do have the element of hand curation is even more. Like, you can keep on holding on to cards until the end of the game. I mean, you can in Meta too, but I understand what you're saying. Like, what you put in your tableau doesn't dictate what you can then place in the future, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can pretty much always do the chain if you have the cards to do it. You're not limited. You're not curating the tableau, you're just curating the hands to create the chain. And there could be some AP in that game, but it's just the downtime is still an issue at a higher player
Oh,
count.
yeah.
I really think it's a better
You got
2
it.
to 3 player game. Like, I don't want to play it at 5 again.
I agree with you. And we like playing it at 2 anyway, but
do like
3
playing
is
it at
okay also.
I think 3 is fine. The downtime issue is not as bad. At 4 and 5, especially if it's a learning game. I feel like maybe if we played it, if I would play it at 5, if it was you, me, John, Shelley, and Jamila, I'd be fine with that. Because we all know the
we've
game.
all played it.
And, I mean, John's played it once, and everyone else has played it multiple times, so I think it would zip a little more, as long as nobody froze peanut M&Ms at me because I took the card they wanted. It was not true.
I'm looking around for something to throw at you.
Anyway, that was the month of February. Quite a lot, an active month for gaming.
Was.
Wait till you see March. The numbers are even bigger. We're already surpassed these numbers so far in March.
I don't see how this can be true, and we still have so many games on the shelf of Champertunity.
Well, so, as you guys may recall, our New Year's resolution was to get things back into rotation that hadn't been in the rotation for a while. I think we've done that.
Yeah,
because
pretty much.
coming up very soon will be our Shelf of Shame video so that you guys can start holding us accountable. Because there's some things that have been sitting on that shelf since I started collecting that really need to be gotten to. And those are the most shameful, which is why they live on the shelf in the other room. But like I said, I'm looking at a stack right now of games we need to get to. Like, Stonewall Uprising is first.
Yes.
I really want to teach you the Clans of Caledonia. I really like that game.
Yeah.
Lacrimosa needs to get played.
Oh, God. See, that's a lot of games, and they're all heavyweight
There's
games.
even more. I got that Gargoyles game. That needs to get played. Anyway, there's a
I
long list.
forgot about that one.
I know.
Jeez.
And with that Alien game you got me. So,
Oh, yeah, the one about... Yeah, okay. It's from the movie, Alien.
Not enough time.
You know where it pops out of your stomach. And it's got a little mouth.
No. It's fine, little alien.
It's a little alien.
They just want love.
That's good.
So, if you like what you see,
And you don't think we're too weird?
even if you do, please subscribe. We promise, I'm not making any more promises. You get what you get. So, if you like what you've gotten, hit that notification bell. Ding. And
Like and subscribe.
Always like and subscribe. Hit the subscribe button and then hit the unsubscribe button.
By accident.
Unsubscribe.
Then hit the subscribe again.
Then hit the subscribe button again, but make sure you don't then hit the unsubscribe button again, because then you would still be unsubscribed.
That would be so sad.
And until next time, I'm Andy.
And I'm Rich.
This has been Get Gaming, and remember, be gay.
To cry.
Don't get caught.
And
Yeah! Dude, I have...
Okay. I am. Gamers with or without a Y. That's right.
Did you still want to make your joke?
I don't remember the joke.
Are you sure?
I'm sure. Let's just go.
Where were we at? Oh.
Bye. Bye, guys. Hi. Hi,
See you by
guys.
next street.
What about Game Board Geek? Board Game Geek, excuse me.
Camera's rolling. Okay, let's go.
I'm just gonna put in Space and see, like, who.
Anyway,
That's
that was
Space
one
working.
of many game days.
See, yeah. 20, here it is, Gamers Guild 2832.
It's $39 on Amazon.
No. Oh, yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, you're right. But this one is definitely cheaper.
Gamers Guild. Do
Never.
you trust this website?
I don't know.
I'm not sure I trust that website. You got a lot to get for... I do want to let you speak.
What's 7.6 here?
That's the rating.
Does that mean it's good?
I don't know. Not really.
And...
Woo!
I know, it's probably already off.
That was quite long.
But it felt festive.